Well, praise the Lord. I'm Pastor Steve Outlaw, the co-pastor here at Living Water Fellowship Church, under the awesome leadership of my wife, Pastor Kim Outlaw. And we're just here on tonight. Our segment tonight is called From the Streets to the Sanctuary. And I'm here with three awesome men of God who are here to share a little bit about where they come from and their journey from the streets to the sanctuary. And I'm telling you, you are really in for a treat. And we really want to just share with you the things that we've been through. Not to brag about what we've done, but just to let you know that no matter what you've done and no matter where you've been, God can save you. If he did it for us, he definitely can do it for you. And we sit here tonight to share with you our past from the streets to the sanctuary. To my left, we have Deacon John Jackson. To my right, we have Brother Kevin Griffith and also Deacon Greg Williams. And some of you may know them, some of you may not. But our prayer is that you will see where we come from, and prayerfully that you'll know if you're living this lifestyle or if you lived it, that the God we serve can deliver you from it. So I just want to share a little bit about my background, and then we'll move on. But like I said, my name is Steve Outlaw, Pastor Steve Outlaw. I haven't always been Pastor Steve Outlaw. I grew up Catholic. Grew up in a household. Both of my parents was there. And, and that's the thing, too. I share from time to time with parents, it doesn't matter how good of a parent that you've been. Your children are still going to do what they want to do. You can be the best parents in the world. You can lay hands on them. You can pray for them 24/7. But at the end of the day, they're still going to do what they want to do. And I'm that person because I grew up in a two-parent household. I was taught right from wrong, but throughout my journey, I kind of steered away a little bit. I sold drugs here in Indianapolis. I've even used drugs. I snorted cocaine for years. Sold knockoff, what they call them, bootleg tapes, CDs. Done all that, been shot at, shot at a few folks. But by the grace of God, I'm still living. I'm still here today. I can remember a time, I go back, I think it was 2001. I was serving in the church. And I remember at the time I was just Steve Outlaw. I had no title, but I was in the church. I had gave my life to the Lord in 1996. But at that time, I was still using. I was still selling a little bit, selling knockoff tapes and, those kind of things. But I knew God was dealing with me. I knew that it was something different, And that's the thing. I think sometimes people think when they get saved, they automatically stop everything cold turkey. And I know that's maybe one of your testimonies for some people that's out there. Maybe that was you, but that was not me. I did get saved, but, I had like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And I remember my wife asking me, she said, how long do you think the Lord is going to allow you to sell his tapes? Because at the time I was working in the tape ministry at the church. She said, how long do you think he's going to allow you to sell his messages and you out there selling these bootleg tapes? And I mean, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And I'm like, wow, you're right. Because at that particular time, I was in somewhat of leadership. So how is it that I'm a leader, somewhat of a leader of my church, but yet I'm still doing these ungodly things, And I stopped. I said, you know what? I can't continue to do this. So I went to all my customers and told them, look, from this day forward, I'm done selling the bootleg tapes and all that, and I stopped. But it wasn't that easy for me for the drugs because it was a little hard for me because it was just something that I felt like I had to have. I was smoking marijuana, I was snorting cocaine, and it was just over a period of time. God just kind of, the more and more I got into His Word, and the more and more I got active in church, it was like He just started stripping it away, and I just thank God for it. And I know that it was only Him, because there's people that I know personally, unfortunately, didn't stop, and they're dead today. So I'm thankful and grateful to God that He allowed me to stop, because I could have been that person buried 6 feet deep. So that's a little bit of my testimony. Now I want to introduce to you Brother Kevin Griffin.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Griffin. I am from Indianapolis. I grew up on the west side of Indianapolis, went to Northwest High School. I started hustling, I think I was around the age of 14, back in the late 90s. Grew up in a single parent household with me and my sister. My dad was around, but he was chasing women. At the time, I didn't realize he was on drugs. I found that out once I got in the streets and figured out he didn't want me in the streets because he didn't want me to find out what he was doing. A little bit about me. I remember, I think I was around 9 or 10 years old. My sister's father got killed right around the corner from my grandmother's house. Literally, you can probably see the car he got shot in right from my grandmother's front door. And then fast forward, when I'm 21, my dad and my best friend gets killed in a double homicide 2 blocks from where my sister's father got killed. So that's the kind of situation I come from. And even when that happened, a lot of people say, man, I feel sorry. I feel bad about what happened. God had told me that I'm going to do something that's going to, if you don't get it now, you ain't going to get it. Wow. And that's what woke me up. My dad, right before that happened, I told my dad, I said, hey, I'm going to the military. And he was like, military ain't no place for no black man. And I was like, Pops, my exact words were, these streets ain't no place for no black man.
Right.
So I joined the military and I never looked back.
Wow.
I actually gave my life to Christ in the military. I was on basic training, and we had church one day, and they asked anybody want to come down and get baptized, and I said, yeah, I want to get baptized. So that's part of my journey, my story right there.
Wow, amazing. In the military.
Yes, in the military.
Where you got saved.
Yes.
And you've been walking with the Lord ever since.
I did. I never went back to the streets once I came home.
Okay.
Right before I went to the military, I was still in the streets. But once I went to the military, it's like God turned the light off. It's like, that ain't for you no more.
Okay.
I never was a drinker. I smoked weed a lot, but I didn't smoke any weed anymore.
Okay.
I didn't indulge in that lifestyle anymore. It was, the old house the old house I was living in before I went to the military, I never went back and stayed there. I stayed with my grandmother for about a week and figured out I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And me and a cousin of mine, we rented a house together, and I just never looked back after that.
Wow. Look at God.
Amen.
Look at God.
Amen.
And you mentioned alcohol, and I think I forgot to mention that. Yes, I was a heavy drinker as well, but God, the God we serve can remove all that,
And he definitely did it for me. Like I said, I didn't know I could stop.
Yeah.
I was doing so much, I was like, ain't no way I can stop. And it's really like cold turkey.
Yeah.
I never went back. I never said, hey, I'm going to go back and keep trying it like that. I never went back and play with it either.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how far we're going to go, but I didn't want to take up too much time. But I can tell you testimony about me going to court one time. So when we get to that area.
No, go ahead and share it. I want you to share it. Absolutely.
I told you I started hustling. I think I was 14 years old. By the time I was 17 in senior high school, I was a convicted felon. I caught a dope case at Northwest High School my senior year, last semester of my senior year. I get locked up for selling dope. I come home from that. I'm on paper, still going back and forth to court. I get caught with a pistol, and the judge flat out told me, he said, if you'd got convicted of the dope case before the pistol case, it's a mandatory 5 years. And me being a knucklehead, I still didn't listen. Fast forward, my dad gets in a situation. I try to help my dad out. I get locked up. Now I'm about to be a 3-time felon.
Wow.
I'm sitting in the courtroom. my last name is spelled Griffen, and there's not too many people spell their last name that way. And we sitting in the courtroom, and my father's brother, my uncle David, showed up to court. Never been to any of my court dates. I don't even know how he knew I had a court date. He's sitting out in the audience, and I can remember to this day, Judge LaPasa, she keeps looking and she's looking and she's looking, and finally she says, "Is that David Griffen?" He stands up and says, "Yes, ma'am." She gets off the stand and gives my uncle a hug.
Wow, in the middle of your.
In the middle of me going to court, and she asked him, "What's the relation?" He said, "That's."
So hold on. Let's back up a little bit. Let's back up because you said that you don't even know how he knew you even had a court date.
I don't even know how he
Right.
knew.
Because you didn't tell him.
He never been to any of my court dates. I've been in plenty of trouble. He never showed up at any of my court dates. And
That's God right there. God, that was your angel for that particular time and moment.
When I tell that story, what I say is, my uncle was it's a good reference. My uncle was a nerd. He was a good student,
Okay.
and she was his school teacher in elementary, and he would help her grade papers. And I always tell people, God knew I was gonna get in trouble before I even got in trouble.
That's right.
And he planned and set it up because knowing I was gonna get in trouble.
Yeah.
And I truly believe in my heart, if my dad would have been in her class, she would have threw the book at me. She'd have said, he's gonna be like his dad. My dad went to jail for murder when I was a kid. So I believe she would have said how he gonna be just like his dad. So I'm gonna throw the book at him. So she asked my uncle, she said, "What's the relation?" He said, he said, "That's my nephew." Keep in mind, this be my third felony. She asked him, "If I send him home with you on house arrest and a $500 bond, can he go home with you?" And my uncle said, "Yes."
Wow.
Yes. Yes. And then about 5-6 years ago, me and my uncle said, we never talked about it. Never ever talked about it. And about 5 or 6 years ago, 6 years ago, I'm sitting over his house, and I said, "Uncle, I gotta ask you, what was the deal with that?" And he said, "I don't know." And it just clicked to me. I said, we weren't supposed to know.
Right.
God is showing us He's in charge.
That's right.
He's in charge.
He's in charge.
He's in charge.
He's in charge.
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
that's amazing. And it made me just think about too, because just the time that I remember I was working at what was it? I was living in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at the time, and I was a janitor, and one of the guys there kind of was like, "Hey man, we can get some product, get it on out here." So I jumped on board. So I'm taking things out of the warehouse, having people come pick up stuff from the warehouse. I'm on campus selling eel-skin belts and wallets and stereos and just having a good time, you know. And of course, they ended up seeing me on camera. And I was always good with lying and getting myself out of things. And for whatever reason, I didn't know then what was going on, and it wasn't revealed till later on, but it was like God was like, it stops here, because I was always able to get myself out of it. You know, I lie. And the thing about it was that, yeah, they seen me taking some stuff out of the warehouse, but y'all know how it goes. It never left the store. It never left outside of the store. It was still in the store. So security looked all over for it. They just knew that it was gone. I had to actually go show them where it was. So I ended up telling everything, all the stuff that I stole and all that. And then after the fact, I thought about it. I was like, well, wait a minute. You didn't have to tell them nothing, because that stuff never left the store. So but I looked at it like, wow, I could have got out of that, but it was like God was saving me from something that could have happened to me later on down the line, because I could have continued down that path, you know, and it was God. And it was like, I didn't know that then. And I'm like, wow. And you know, I got mad about it. I'm like, dang, I didn't have to go to jail, and I didn't have to, pay this money back. You know, of course, I didn't do a whole lot of time. You know, I just did about 3 days, but still, you know, that was a lot for me. You know, one day, you know, but it's just amazing how God would just show up in your situation, you know, and like you said, you didn't know, but God knew. And it was Him that had your uncle show up at that time, at that hour, on that day?
I tell you something a little deeper than that. The rumor is my grandmother changed our last name from IN to EN because when she looked it up, she said it was a gothic creature, so she named it EN. So that's why our last name is EN, and that's what made his teacher. She's like, "There's not too many people spelled as EN." So when she's seen that, she's looking around. She seen
Wow.
my uncle, and to top that off, me and my wife go get married down to Justice of Peace. She was the judge that married me and my wife.
Wow. Wow. So did she remember you?
She didn't. She actually didn't. But like I told her, she wasn't supposed to. I wasn't supposed to know. I remember telling somebody, bragging, "Oh, I got out of this, I got out of that," and they flat out told me, "You didn't do it. You didn't do it. God did it." And ever since that day, I would never ever say I did it. It's
Yeah.
always God did it.
God did it.
And if,
Yeah.
like you said, if he wouldn't have revealed to me he did it, I still would have been saying, "Yeah, I did it. I got out of this. I did this.
Yeah.
I was slick." Like you said, I was slick. I didn't have to tell on myself.
Right.
But no, God showed me I got to reveal this. If not, you're gonna keep thinking you did it. You won't
Yeah.
give me my credit.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Deacon Greg,
Good evening and praise the Lord.
praise him.
Let me just give y'all my testimony. It's not gonna be brief, but I'll try to break it down so it won't be extended out too
Take
long.
your time. Take your
Okay.
time, brother. We got time.
Okay. Like yourself, I was raised in a 2-family home on the west side of Indianapolis in some projects. You would say they projects. They called Eagle Creek Village, but we renamed them the Ponderosa Projects.
The Ponderosa Project.
The Ponderosa
Okay.
Projects.
I don't think I had ever heard of that.
Yeah.
But okay.
It was a Ponderosa Projects. And I was raised in a good home. I mean, my mom and them did the best they can.
Yeah.
Raised me up playing sports, basketball, football. She had us in everything.
Okay.
But when I turned about 16, hanging around the people that I was hanging around in the projects, my life took a turn. So I started, getting involved with selling drugs. So my 9th grade in high school, I started selling drugs. And after my 9th grade in high school, I had dropped out. My 10th grade, I did not go to high school at all.
Wow.
So I sold drugs that whole year, and I went back to high school my junior and senior year, and I graduated on time. Nobody told me to go back. I just had a intuition I need to graduate from high school.
Okay.
So I'm still selling drugs in high school and everything. I'm driving to school, and so everything is good. So let me fast forward. This is I graduated in 1994. In 1995, my life took a turn. We was all driving, it was a Black Expo, and we went up to Cowboys on Lafayette Road.
I remember, boy.
Cowboys. So,
I remember Cowboys. That
Yeah.
was my spot.
That was
yeah.
it. So we on a parking lot of Cowboys, and during this, let me back up. We have a beef. It's really like a drug beef. Like one of my partners was in other people's neighborhoods selling drugs, and he's into it with these guys. So if he into it with them, we into it with them.
Right.
So we get the Cowboys, and it's probably 15, 20 of us, and we see these guys. So we all get in a fist fight at the club, and we hear gunshots ring out. A lot of gunshots. Everybody getting their car, spills out. And my cousin say, "Hey man, that's Joe back here on the ground." Joe was my big brother. So we turn around, get back to my big brother. He laying there dead on the ground.
Wow.
He's dead. So we picks him up, trying to get him to Wishart.
Yeah.
And it's all kind of police squad cars just chasing us down there. So they finally cornered us off on 16th and Persian. We couldn't go nowhere. So I hear, so we all in handcuffs, laying on the curb. And I hear one of the officers say, "Yeah, one of them was DOA." And from that point on, like my mind just clicked. Like, that's my brother dead. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
so they it took us down, interrogated us all. And they didn't lock nobody up. They let everybody go. So this is 1995. So after that, 1995, we still doing our thing, selling drugs, and we doing what we doing. But now it's a war. It's like a gang war because you guys done killed my brother, right?
So now basically y'all want to retaliate.
It's retaliation. So from 1995 to 1998, it was just like all out gang wars. Like anytime they see us, we shooting. Anytime we see them, we shooting. So fast forward that to like summer of '98, we go to the Louisville Derby, Kentucky Derby.
Okay.
And we stay in a hotel in Clarksville, Indiana. So we wake up and I hear one of my partners outside arguing. He's on the balcony and he arguing with some guys down low. So I went out there to see what's going on. It's the same guys we into it with back in Indianapolis.
Wow.
They staying in the same hotel.
What's the likelihood
What's
of
the
that?
chances of that?
Yeah.
So anyway, the gunshots start going. It's going back and forth, going back and forth. So 2 of these guys that's down below get shot. So we trying to leave, and by the time we trying to leave, state troopers surround all our cars. They locked me, my brother, and the guy that was out on the balcony arguing. They locked us up, charged us with 3 counts of attempted murder. So we locked up in Clarksville.
3 counts of attempted murder.
3 Class A felonies, 50
Wow.
years apiece. And they didn't run them. They didn't charge us like consecutive. We just had to do 50 years, and then 50 years.
Wow.
So, long story short on that, we end up doing 90 days. And they let us plead out to a lesser charge because the gentleman, he didn't come to court or anything. So
Okay.
they let it out. But I remember my lawyer coming up and said, "Hey, Greg, you know you're facing 150 years." And I kind of went blank. Like 150 years? I was like, I ain't gonna never get out of here.
Right.
But God, he let us do that. He let us do 90 days, and we came home, and it wasn't nothing but God to get us out of that situation. We was caught deadwood with the gun, caught deadwood with bulletproof vests. They got witnesses that's been shot. So, but I just thank God he got us out that situation. So now we back on the streets of Indianapolis. We back to doing what we doing. We selling drugs.
So I would say that when that happened, I don't think, or you answer the question that you equated that was God.
At the time, I wasn't thinking about God at
Right.
that time.
Okay.
To be honest, it was just, you got money, you try to do what you got to do to get out. You ain't
So
praying
you
to God,
knew-
none of that.
So it wasn't until later on.
Later on, when I'm reminiscing and looking back over my life,
Right.
I'm realizing all the places God was to get me out of certain
Right,
situations
right.
I was in. So,
Go ahead.
so we back on the streets in Indianapolis. We selling drugs, having fun, partying, and all of a sudden it's just like, I guess we started getting hot from selling drugs.
Okay.
So I'm starting noticing like people around me is getting jammed up, like different groups. Like I'm from these Ponderosa projects, but I'm noticing guys from Brightwood getting jammed up, guys from Hallville getting jammed up, guys from different places. So I'm starting thinking like I'm getting nervous. I'm getting like, man, this ain't the life. So, but anyway, I kept selling drugs, but God, he started pulling on me. Like he started like, hey, you ain't gonna be able to do this forever. I'm protecting you, but hey, you gotta change your lifestyle. You gotta change it. So let me tell you the breaking point. Well, let me tell you first. I done actually been over people's houses, like big time people houses.
Yeah.
When DEA come over there and lay us down on the ground and take us all to jail, but they just locked me up for visiting common nuisance. And he don't get out to 15 years later. Just situations like that, just being caught up in the wrong place at the wrong time. But God have you covered. I could have easily had something on me to been locked up with these guys. And so let me tell you the breaking point, which made me realize it's time to it's got to be done with. So I picked up one of my buddies, and he lived in Eagle Creek, over the bridge, Target, Eagle Creek area. You know the bridge, the airport over there.
Yeah.
So he lived in some condominiums over there. I picked him up, and we actually lived normal lives. We was going bowling that morning.
Okay.
I was picking him up. We was gonna go bowling.
So y'all wasn't pushing then.
Nah, not anymore. We had times where we was regular people. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
Regular life. We go shopping. So I had picked him up, and we was going eastbound on 38th Street, headed to Hindle Bowling Alley. and he forgot his bowling bag. So I turned around right there at 465 to go back west to his condo
Yeah.
and looked in the rearview mirror. It was DEA all behind me. I'm like, oh my God. And I don't even have a driver's license at the time.
Wow.
I don't even have a driver's
You
license.
driving dirty.
Driving dirty. So they pulled up on us, they pulled us out the car, they drove us over to the Indianapolis airport and drove our vehicle over there. And they was interrogating me, but they was actually after him. They was after my buddy. So they went in his house and ramshacked it. They found stuff, and they took him to jail. Took me to jail for driving on suspended. My bond was higher than his bond, and I was only on driving on suspended, and he had a drug case.
Wow.
And so I'm in the city county building. I'm waiting. I'm like, where my buddy at? So he come there a few hours later. I was like, man, what took you so long to get down here? Because I'm thinking something like
Right.
he did something. He said, I ain't even have to be in here if I told them what I know about you. He said, that's all they was doing was interrogate me about you. And they was coming for him
About you.
about me.
Wow.
They said, he said, if I had told them everything I know about you, I wouldn't even be here right now. But he didn't. So that night, I was perplexed. And like, I told God, I said, if you get me out of this situation, if I can get out of here with no consequences like I really should have,
Yeah.
I said I would never go back to the streets again. And I paid the bond of $2,500, and months went past, nothing happened, and I just quit. God, He delivered me from selling drugs. He delivered me, and I was in it pretty heavy, and He just
Wow.
removed me from that circumstance. Nothing but God.
So, for the sake of our viewers, when you say drugs, you
Yeah.
know, what does that look like? Was it, just ounces, or what was it that
Nope.
y'all was pushing?
Nope. It was I had some people come from out of state, and it was like 20, 25 kilos a week. Every week.
Every week.
Every week.
So, what does that street value look like?
At the time, each kilo was like $22,500 times 25. So probably $500,000.
$500,000
Something like
is
that,
the
yeah.
type of
Yeah.
money that you was dealing with. So
Yeah.
we're not talking about the little.
Nah.
When I think about the drug, the selling of drugs, the little
Right.
drugs that I was selling back in the day, the little
Right.
the little cocaine and the little
Yeah.
bags of weed I was selling.
we was in it pretty heavy.
Wow.
And it wasn't nothing but God. I never went to prison for it. It was just looking back, He protected me when I wasn't even thinking
Come
about
on.
being protected.
Come on.
Yeah.
I wasn't even worried about being protected, but He still had me covered during that whole time.
During that whole time.
During the whole time.
Wow.
And then during that, before I had stopped, it probably was it was a few years before I completely stopped. And it's my wife now, it's my girlfriend then. She was seeing the people around me getting locked up, and I used to be like, man, I'm worried. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. And I remember one day she's like, you want to go to church? You want to go to church? Because she had an older friend who invited her to church.
Okay.
She's like, such and such keep inviting us to church. She said, you want to go? And I went to church. And I enjoyed it. You know what church it was.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I went to church and I enjoyed it. But while I was in church, I still was doing what I did.
1 foot in, one
One
foot
foot
out.
in, 1 foot out. But slowly God started convicting me. It was like, first I was like, I ain't selling drugs on Sunday. I stopped selling drugs on Sunday. I ain't doing that no more. And then eventually the conviction was getting deeper and
Yeah.
deeper. And I was just like, I gotta stop doing this. I stopped. And that night I was sitting in city county building. It was a breaking point for me. I never looked back. I never went back.
Wow.
Yeah,
Amazing.
nothing but God.
Come on.
You was facing 150 years.
For 3 counts of attempted murder.
3 counts of attempted murder.
He covered me then.
He covered you then,
Come on.
and he's covering you now.
Still covering me.
Come on.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Wow.
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 Nothing but God.
Nothing but God. Last but not least, Deacon John Jackson. He ain't always been a deacon. Share a little bit about what God has brought you through.
Praise the Lord. My name is John Jackson. I came from both of my parents as well, but my mother was so close to her mother. Every day she go to my grandmama's house, and
Yeah.
she stayed out off of 40th Street, like 40th and Graceland,
Okay.
and right next to Boulevard. So I know you heard of 40th and Boulevard.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
What go on around in there,
Yes,
that
sir.
area.
Very familiar.
So I went to Tech, and I got kicked out of all public schools because I hit the dean across the head with a chair, split his head.
Oh,
So
wow.
it took me to juvenile, and I got kicked out of all public schools. So I really never got the education that I really wanted, and so I took on to the streets. And in my path, I really got deep in the street, like Deacon Greg. I was in that same level, maybe a little higher or about the same, really deep. And
Yeah.
so I had, the big house. We was a group and had a big house and on the golf course, you name it. I mean, Lexus, Vipers, Benz, Jags, Rolex watches, mink coats. I had it all. I didn't need anything. And so a lot went down. A lot of murders take places. And then the feds came down. Then I found myself really being on the run.
You was on the run?
On the run.
Okay.
Federal run. Running from the FBI. And it had a lot of, how could I say this? Some of the guys turned federal, turned off informants, federal informants.
Okay.
And so there was no way out of this. So I had 6 federal indictments against me.
6.
6 all of them was carrying over 20 to life.
Wow.
And one of the informants got a hold to my lawyer and let them know they was going to do a sting. They was going to go into like 16 houses all at the same time and arrest everybody. And in 2 weeks, so I had a 2 weeks notice.
Okay.
So I let some of my friends know. So 4 of us went on the run.
Okay.
The rest of them got locked up on the sting after 2 weeks. 4 of us went on the run, the main guys.
Okay.
Okay. I went on the run. I just went to really just Detroit.
Okay.
And
just right.
across from Canada.
Okay.
And I had a friend went out to California. One went out to Atlanta. One went out to Tennessee. And they all got snatched up.
So they got caught.
They got caught.
Okay.
All of them got life.
Hold on. Let's back up. Let's back up a little bit. So you were on the run. You had 6 federal indictments carrying 20 to life. All 4 of you were on the run. All 3 of them got caught and serving life.
One of them got 3 life sentences.
One of them
Same
got
case.
3 life sentences.
The other 2 got life.
The other 2 got life. So now you're next.
Yes. And when I went to Detroit, I went to my uncle's house and I was real close to him. And I was going to stay in the basement. He was like, hey, he said, in 3 days, I bought a boat out in Canada. In 3 days, I'll pick it up and put it out in the water. You just stay on that.
Okay.
So now I got the FBI looking for me and I'm staying on this boat. I lived on that boat almost a year until it was time to take it out the water.
A whole year. And for those of you that are watching, we're going to show a picture of that boat that you was actually staying on back then.
Yes.
We got a picture of it. So the boat you are looking at is the boat that he was living on. But go ahead.
So while I was staying on that boat, I'm still street. I ain't got saved yet. I'm still street. So
Okay. You on the run.
we had informants and this and that. So I'm I got to handle my business.
Yeah.
And I got to handle my business.
Yeah.
So I had a buddy there that was in church. He trying to get me to go to church, and I was like, man, I ain't thinking about no church. What you talking about church? I'm thinking about these informants.
Right.
So I'm back and forth. Can't get nothing done, and so I go back to him, and I was like, my lawyer was like, you just got to stay on the run because Ain't no beating this case. They got the informants. They got cameras. They've been watching y'all for over 8 years. They got
Wow.
phone taps. They got pictures with you carrying like 20 kilos. They got a guy right next to you carrying the money. He's the one that's informant. He's saying what's in the bag. You can't beat this.
Wow.
He said, so you just stay where you at long as you can. So I know I'm gonna get locked up. I just don't
Eventually,
know
you just don't know when.
Yeah. So I ended up going to church, man, and I I walked in the church, and the church is going, and the preacher preaching, and next while the sermon is going, it ain't over with yet. I find myself up front. How I got there, I do not know. But I just threw my hands up and said, Lord, I don't know you. But I said, whatever in me that ain't you, snatch it out. Use this vessel for your glory. And I passed out. When I woke up, I was speaking in tongues.
Wow.
And I'd never been the same. So I fully gave my life to him. So now I'm at the boat, going to church, at the boat, going to church, at the boat, going to church, at the boat, working in the church, at the boat,
And keep
painting in the church.
Yeah. Keep in mind though, them indictments ain't went nowhere. They still there.
No, they still looking for me.
So you paint.
I'm
Go ahead.
America's Most Wanted. They looking for me.
America's Most Wanted.
Yes.
Keep going.
So I'm going back for church. So then I start getting rid of stuff. I went to the pawn shop down in Detroit, got rid of my Rolex. Pay 10%. Gotta now know about tithes. So I paid 10% on that. Sent some money to my wife, gave my uncle some money. He was like, no, you keep this. I'm gonna put this up for you. Cause for your lawyer. I said, he's my lawyer. I said, I'm good. Whatever he got for me, I'm good. So that's going on. One day my wife called me. And my wife said, your lawyer called me and your mother to come down to his office. Said he got to show us something. They got down there. He said, I never seen nothing like this before in my life. He said, the U.S. Marshal and the federal government done dropped all the indictments on John. The 6 indictment, murder indictment, kidnapping charges, conspiracy, racketeering, drug trafficking, and money laundering. Wiped it out. I never been to court. I never got locked up in the car. I've been locked up plenty times, but on this, never got in the police car. The judge of the universe dismissed my case.
Lord have mercy. You mean to tell me? Now, we got an informant who's walking next to you that's testifying what you got in your bag, what he's got in his bag. There's no way to beat this. You talking about 20 to life. 3 of them have already been sentenced or getting ready to get sentenced. And you next. And there's no way.
No way out.
No way out.
But God.
But God.
Come on.
Yes.
They dropped every single charge.
It seemed like every single charge. It seemed like God just had his hand over the whole thing. Even when I went there, like he already had the boat waiting on me. Yeah. He had his hand on me. It was just me and him on that boat, and he worked with me. I mean, I come on the boat sometime, and they had a TV and stuff. You seen the boat. You got the picture. Had a TV on it. I come in there, TD Jakes on. I ain't cut it on no TD Jakes. I come in there, Rob Parsley on. God just start working. I'm like, who is these people? I don't know them.
Right.
But I'm listening. I'm just listening, looking at this stuff, and it's getting down in my spirit. And he just changed my whole life, man. And once he sent me, let me go back home. My lawyer said, do not come back home. He said for 5 years. He said what they did called a prejudice.
Okay.
That's the law. He said they got 5 years to pick it back up. It could be 5 minutes in that 5th year, and they could come and snatch it up, and the case is back on again. He said, so stay there until 5 years up. God had me back home in a year. Yeah, I mean, after he did it, said that about everything that's dropped, sent me back home. When I came back home, my cousin worked for a private investigator company.
Okay.
I shouldn't have did this, but I just had her go look everything up to see what's still on my record and what ain't.
Right.
And she called back and said, you need to leave town right now. She said, just came up just yesterday, a new murder charge. She said, they looking for you. Get out of here. So I had my sister's husband, Mike, at the time. He was gone to Enterprise to give me a car, a rental
Yeah.
car, to head on back out. And I thought about it. And I said, man, I said, let me pray about this. I went in my bathroom. I shut the door in the restroom, got on my knees and started crying out to God. I said, God, what is this? I said, what should I do? Should I go back? He said, whose report you going to believe? Theirs or mine? And I said, God, I'm going to believe you. I'm going to trust you. While I was in there, my wife knocked on the door and said, hey, your cousin back on the phone. She got back and she said, I just checked it again and you clear. I don't know what just happened. She said, it's nothing on your record. It's like you a new person.
Wow.
Good God about
Wow. Wow.
We're not. He's not making this.
And that's just one of the testimony.
Wow.
He's just like he started training me, and I couldn't do stuff on my own. He just was doing it. I remember. Can I say a little testimony?
Absolutely, we want to hear.
God started showing me that I got you.
Okay.
You don't got yourself no more. You know all the money's gone now. So I'm still living in this big house. I'm in the big house. We don't even got no toilet paper. This testimony about some toilet paper. We don't even got no toilet paper. So I tell God, I said, God, you said you got me now.
Yeah.
And my family needs you. I need you. That's how I talk to him.
Yeah.
When I pray, I talk to him just like like I said, I need you right now. I need you to give me some toilet paper before we could wipe ourselves. I said, I don't know how you're going to do it, but I know you're going to do it because you said you're going to take care of me.
Right.
And your word can't go back to your void.
Come on.
So I need some toilet paper. You're going to bring somebody over here with some money for I could go get some toilet paper, or you're going to bring somebody over here with some toilet paper. I need some toilet paper, Lord.
Right.
And I'm trusting you. I said, I got to go get my wife now from the airport, just where she work at. I said, I'll talk to you later. I love you, God. Take care of the situation.
Just like that.
Just like that. So I talked to me and God talk. Got in the car, going down 56th Street, get to 465. It's getting dark. Pitch dark, Gary, storm. Wind blowing. I get on 465, 465 stay packed.
Yeah.
I ain't see nobody. I'm like, weird. Getting dark. So
Yeah.
I'm going down 465 and something go across me, look like some toilet paper. And I look and said, is that some toilet paper? I said, John, you tripping. Just like that.
Right.
I said, John, you tripping. And I kept going. I didn't stop. I said, John, you tripping. So I kept going. I went about a half a mile down and it did it again. With the little, how the toilet paper goes down.
Yeah.
Like, that's some toilet paper.
Right. So
I said, that's my toilet paper. I said, I'm getting that toilet paper. So I pull over to the side. Now it's starting to rain. I pull over to the side and I get on the side, put my blinkers on, put it in reverse, turn around and back up, and the box behind me.
Mm.
I get out and look at the box. The box said 96 rolls of toilet paper.
no.
And the box never been open. I said, God, where the toilet paper that got my attention come from? I said, well, you something else.
Come on.
I said, God, you something else. He got my attention with 2 rolls of toilet paper, but this box ain't never been open with 96 rolls of toilet paper. Now it's pouring down raining. So I'm trying to get the box and put it in the car. It breaks up. Toilet paper just roll out of the street. It's pouring down raining. So I just start throwing in the back of the shed, throwing in the back of the hatchback.
Yeah.
I get to my wife's job. She said, what is all that? I said, that's toilet paper. The box broke. God gave us some toilet paper. I'm soaking wet. She said, why are you so wet? Not one roll of toilet paper have a drip of water on it.
Wow. Wow.
Paper came straight from God, man.
Come on.
Straight from the Lord.
Come on.
I called up everybody. I said, hey, come get some of this toilet paper. I said, you wipe your butt, you're going to be blessed.
I know that's right.
Yeah, just like that.
That ain't giving away toilet
Oh,
paper.
yeah. So it's just things that he started doing in my life, man. I
Come
got
on,
so
man.
much more, but what he did in my life, man. And
Wow.
once I started going to church, man, my name was, and when I was on the run, do I got time to say this?
Yes, sir.
When I was on the run, I was in Detroit. My cousin hooked me up where I had passport, I had ID, I had birth certificate, all in Maurice Harris. That was who I was now.
Okay.
Not John Jack, I was Maurice Harris.
Okay.
So when I came back, I was still Maurice Harris. So I was going to Harvest Center Church.
Okay.
My mother-in-law was going to Emmanuel House of Prayer.
Okay.
She said, John, I want you to come visit. She the one that was praying for me.
Mm.
And they had a prayer wall with pictures on it that people in their family, they pray for. So she said, you was on that wall. She showed me the wall where I was on
Yeah.
and was still on it. And she said, we, the intercessor and us, we all were praying for you. She said, so I want you to come and show you this wall. I want you to come and visit my church. So I told the pastor, I'm going to join this church, but I'm going to go visit my mother-in-law church first.
Yeah.
And went over there, man. Spirit high. I mean, spirit high. They running around the church. You know how I get when they run around the church?
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this? And me and my wife, we walk in, we both got mink coats on. You know, I come from,
Right.
still have my mink coats and stuff. So we got mink coats on. They looking at us. So service going. So after service, they say, the visitor, when you stand up, they ain't like us. They had you say something.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, that's how they used to do back in the day.
Yeah. So I get the mic. And I said, my name is Maurice Harris. This is my wife. And I come to visit, and the Lord just convicted me. Wham. He said, this day, I'm going to give you your name back. You tell them who you are, because they've been praying for you over there on that wall. The Lord told me that clear as day.
Wow.
And I said, Pastor, I said, I'm sorry. I said, my name ain't Maurice Harris. My name is John Jackson. And I've been on the run, and God done blessed me, and he brought me here, and y'all been praying for me on that wall over there. And he told me to tell you my name is John Jackson. The whole half of the church got up, the intercession, to go running around the church. And I said, Pastor, this place where I need to be. She said, come on down. And we joined that church, man. I've been at that church for 10 years until it came over here.
Wow.
And I know that's God just had everything ordained for me, man. It was amazing.
Wow.
I know, Pastor Steve. I don't think people realize God will speak to you.
Yes.
God will speak to you, and the clear as I ever heard God speak. And I hope we got a little. It ain't gonna take that much time at all. But I tell you, my father, my best friend, got murdered, and the gentleman I believe who murdered my best friend, I was leaving my father's funeral, and I had my little brother in the car,
Yeah.
and we going down Harding, and I just started smiling, and my little brother said, "What you smiling about?" I said, God just told me to leave it alone. He gonna take care of it. As I'm getting it out of my mouth, the guy I believe who killed my father runs across my car naked, passes out in the yard. My brother looks at me, I look at him, I just keep on going down the street. It was clear as day. God told me, I'm gonna take care of that. Don't you worry about that. I'm gonna take care of it.
Put it in his hand.
Put it in his hand. Put it in his hand. He'll talk to you.
Wow.
I got some message here. Can I?
Yes, sir. Please. I mean, I mean, those of you that are listening to this, wow. I mean, you know, our goal was to just let you know that no matter what you've done, no matter what you've been through, on any level, God is in the saving business. And if he could do it for us, he definitely can do it for you. Go ahead.
That's exactly where I'm going to go with this. Remember I said I had 3 guys that got locked up on the same case and got life?
Yeah.
And when I started going to that church, the prayer wall still there, so I put their pictures up there.
Okay.
And I used to go pray over them every service. I go pray for them. And one, like I said, got 3 life sentences. The other 2 got life sentences.
Yeah.
Supposed to never see daylight again.
Yes, sir.
Period. I go over there and I'm praying. So one day in church, I'm over there on the wall. God said, go pray. Go pray for them. So I go over there and I lay my head on it, lay my hands on it like this. And I'm praying and I'm in the spirit and I'm praying, praying. But the church service is going on. They preaching right now. So I'm probably out of protocol. I got out by the preacher preaching and over on the wall, and I'm praying. And I'm praying and I'm praying, I'm praying. I don't know what God did that day, but he switched the whole service. And then when I got up, I'm crying, tears, and I turn around. Everybody in the church is stand up and they got their hands pointed this way, and the pastor got her hand pointed that way. And it just changed. And then she just started prophesying, saying, God, do whatever he asked him to do. And start prophesying. So I talked to my guys that's locked up.
Okay.
And I told them, I said, hey man, I said, I don't know when God gonna do it or how God gonna do it. But y'all ain't dying in there. Cause he just did something
Yeah.
Sunday. He just did something. Y'all ain't dying in there, man. Y'all coming home one day. I don't know how he gonna do it, but if he did it for me, he gonna do it for
Yes.
y'all. And he could do it for anyone. I said, it ain't just me.
Yeah.
So I said, y'all coming home. I don't know what God moved some kind of way. Just this year. Just this year.
How long
Before
ago was that? That was back in
that was 22 years
22
ago.
years ago. So we fast forward
Yeah,
to
yeah,
this
yeah,
year.
Yeah. 20, they've been locked up 22 years. Doing life, still doing life.
Yeah.
And the week before Super Bowl, when was Super Bowl?
Was February?
A week before Super Bowl, one of them that doing life, they released. And I watched the Super Bowl with him, and we rejoiced. He came home.
Look at God.
He told me, he said, my other partner, he said, if everything go right, he'd be home in 90 days. That's the other one that got life. 2 weeks ago, I just talked to my other, remember I told you I talked to the ones that's doing 3 Life Fitness.
Yeah.
He been calling me kind of regular now.
Okay.
And we was talking, and we talk like once or twice a week.
Okay.
He ain't called. He said, hey, he said, everything go right, I'll be home way before the beginning of summer. Wow. I said, what? He said, yeah, man, I'll be home right before the beginning of summer. So I'm waiting on him to call. He ain't called in 2 weeks. I said, he probably home because they probably taking him back to Oakland for he could go do his case.
Yeah.
So why call? And he gonna come and knocking on my door. But yeah, so I praise God, man.
Come on, man.
He would do it.
Yes, he will. Yes, he will.
Wow.
Yes, he will. And you know, the stories that you've heard today, this is real. This is not made up. We're not doing this to get a bunch of likes and for it to go what they call it on social media. This is really for those of you that really know what it is to be in these type of shoes that we've been in, the lifestyles that we've lived, the lifestyle that they've lived. No matter what it is, God can get you through it. And I know firsthand because I didn't know him, but I knew of him back in the day. And all the people that he's talking about, with the exception of one, I knew them because one of my best friends was a barber and used to cut their hair. And I knew what was going on. And I remember the day that they got sentenced. I remember all that. This is a true story. We're not making this up, but we just wanted to come today to let you know it doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter what you've done. You've tried everything else.
Come on. That's right.
You've tried drugs. You tried selling drugs. You tried alcohol. You tried whatever it is you've done. It don't matter. Adultery, whatever. Whatever you've done, stealing, lying, whatever you've done, God still loves you and he can change you. But you got to give it to him. You tried it all. Why don't you try Jesus? I'm telling you, because if he's done it for us,
Yes,
I know for sure he can do it for you. No questions asked. I know he can. I mean, this is literally what you just shared. That's a movie.
Come on.
I mean, that's a movie. This is not no made up story. I mean, this is real life stuff. You could have been sentenced to 150 years. You looking at double life, and what you had
25 to life.
25 to life. I'm telling you. I mean, thing is here, we in our men classes, we always try to keep it real and relevant, and just keeping it real, and that's all we're doing. And it's not about boasting, it's not about bragging, it's just sharing our stories, and hopefully and prayerfully that you can understand and see. If you out there doing this stuff, you can stop. I know it may be hard. I know that's might have been all that you've done and all that you've known. You grew up in the streets. That's all you know. But the God we serve, I'm telling you, nothing's too impossible for him. Nothing. I thank God for my praying grandmother because I already know.
Wow.
I already know if it wasn't for my grandmother praying for me, all the crazy stuff that I done, I know it was her. I know for a fact.
Pastor Steve, when my grandmama passed, everybody surrounded the casket,
Yeah,
and I was still in that lifestyle then.
yeah.
I went around up on the pulpit. The pastor tried to stop me. I went around, got over my grandmama, and I told her, I said, Grandmama, who gonna pray for me now? What I'm gonna do? Who gonna pray for me now?
Yeah.
Cause I done been, I'm gonna share something else. I done been in shootouts. I done shot so many people, I done lost count. But I've been in a shootout where I had a coat on, zipped up, and we shooting out. And I shot this person twice, and he went down, and he pulled out a 45, and I'm just as close as me and you are. And he raced up to me and said, boom! I went like this, and I took off. And when I got in the car, I told my cousin, I said, I'm hit. And he said, you hit? I said, I'm hit. When we got home, I wasn't hit. And ain't no blood or nothing. I said, man, when he shot a blank. But then when I took the coat off, my cousin said, look, man, in the back of it was a hole that big. Out the back, but I had it zip up. So the bullet went in and went out, but didn't go in me. Wow. I'm just saying how God had me covered. That's why I told my grandmama, I said, who gonna pray for me now? Wow. I just wanted to share that too. I just want to share that too.
Yes, Lord.
Amen.
My God. I mean, I'm lost for words. I mean, like I said, I mean, we all got a story. We all got testimonies, but my God, I mean, nothing compares to what this man done been through. And, you know, and like I said, we all got past, and it may not be to this extreme. It may not be to that extreme, this extreme, my extreme, but we all got one. But the whole thing is that it don't matter what it is. God is there. He's there. He is there, no matter what.
Yes.
Wow. Well, I mean, this pretty much concludes from the streets to the sanctuary. But not only, though, I want to share this too. Not only are they from the, come from the streets, successful business owners. Well, y'all should share a little bit about what y'all do now, because I think y'all have turned that negative energy into positive energy.
I posted something about 6 months ago. Bishop T.D. Jakes said you had the right hustle, you just had the wrong product, and I really truly believe that. I had the right hustle, I just had the wrong product. Now I'm a Indianapolis firefighter. My daughter said I'm a hustle man. I done hustle tires, air fresheners, pop machines. I got a lawn care service. You name it, I hustle. Like I said, the hustle's in me. I just got the right product now.
Wow.
Yeah, I at my former church, I heard the pastor say, if you can sell drugs, then you can run a company. To sell drugs, you have to market it.
That's right.
You have to package it up. You have to have customer service, and you have to treat it just like a business. So I took that mentality, and now, I've been in transporting for close to 10 years, transporting vehicles across the country, and I also got another like a side gig that I breed, bully dogs. That's pretty successful. That I get to meet people all across the world and meet different from all aspects of life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Nothing but God.
I think, what is it? Y'all have a house for, what is it?
Yeah, you talking about the crash pad?
Yeah.
Well, we have flight attendants and pilots stay at our crash pads.
Yeah.
And we have that, and we got rental property. I got rental properties, and I'm going to open up a transport business called J's and T's, and that should be going on in a couple of weeks.
So, and I think you got rental property too. Yeah. So they've taken negative energy, negative things that they were doing, and turned it into positive. And that's what we just want to let you know. Those of you that still may be out doing those things, get out. Take that money and use it for something positive. Take that money and start a business. Take that money and start a company and become legit. Because at the end of the day, you know, the world we're living in, things are getting worse. And you don't want to keep looking behind your back. You know, when you're in that stuff, that fast life, you really can't trust nobody. I mean, you can't even trust the person you sleeping with. You can't trust your family. It's just so much. Give it up. Do something different. Like I said, you tried everything else. You might as well try Jesus. I'm telling you, you won't lose. You won't lose. So we just wanted to take this time to, share a little bit about our story. Oh, and they talked about what they've done. I will share this. Worked for Navistar for 14 years, and then met my wife there. And I'm gonna share this real quick. But it was just, and this is a story about what God does. I've never ever flunked a drug test ever. I've always known how to pass a drug test. So I'm getting ready to start working at Ford Motor Company, which you guys are familiar with, on the east side, right off of Kitley. And my mom works there. My uncle's best friend is an engineer there. I'm shoe in. I'm in there. All I had to do was take the test and pass the drug test. Well, what do you know? The day I go, I have 3 interviews, and I thought it was only going to be 3 interviews over a course of a week or a month. They gave me all 3 interviews in one day, and then they turned around and sent me in the same building to have to do the drug screen. Well, the night before, I'm partying, celebrating the fact that I'm going to get this job at Ford, only to discover that I flunked the drug test. So I'm just hurt. I can't believe it because I've never flunked a drug test. So anyway, fast forward, that was in April of 94. June of 94, Navistar calls me. And I get on, I pass the drug screen. Matter of fact, 2 weeks later, I end up passing another drug screen for another job, but Navistar called me. I got hired on. They hired a bunch of people during that time in 94. And that's where I met my wife, Pastor Kim Outlaw. She was Kim Outlaw at the time. But I'm sharing that story because, like I said, I never flunked drug tests ever. But God had his hand in that, because had I not flunked that drug test, I would have been at Ford and I wouldn't have never met her. We fast forward, we wouldn't have been together. Living Water wouldn't have been formed. These gentlemen that are sitting next to me, I may not even cross paths with. I'll cross paths with him from my street days, but now, because of what God did, he shut that down, brought us together for us to start Living Water Fellowship Church. From that, Rising Star Child Care Academy was birthed. Then from that, after that, Luxury Affordable Boutique, which is my wife's boutique, was formed from that. So I'm just saying that God is amazing.
Come on. He is.
And besides meeting my wife, giving my life to Christ is the best thing that I could have ever done. And I'm not ashamed about it. I tell the world, I love God, and I know he's got me covered no matter what. So again, thank you for tuning in. I hope this was a blessing to somebody. But like I said, we just wanted to share a little bit about our testimony and what we've done and what we've been through. Hopefully that you can see that no matter what you've done, what you've been through, it doesn't even matter. God loves you, and he will save you if you want to be saved. So appreciate you tuning in. God bless you all. Hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Just know God loves you, and so do we. Good night.
God, we love you. God, we magnify you. God, we lift you up. We thank you, Jesus. We thank you, Jesus. We thank you, Jesus. We thank you, Jesus. Oh God, you are King of kings and Lord of lords, and we honor you. We praise you. There's no God like you. You are everything that we need. You are our breath and our life. You are shelter. Oh God, we can run to you and we are safe. You're everything to me. Everything. You're everything to me. Everything. Thank you, Jesus. You're everything to me. Everything. Oh, come on, you think about. You're